Hi everyone, it's Tony. I just want to give you some tips today to help you figure out how to make a meal plan. So most of you have already purchased the 21-day fix plan and you've gone through the book and you figured out what calorie bracket you're in, but you're not sure how to actually make a meal in a shopping list based on that. So today I'm going to help you figure that out. So today we're going to be talking about tips on how to create the menu and shopping list, meal plan, things like that. So really, the 21-day fix plan is actually my favorite Beachbody program. It's the one that I started with, and it really does help people to get a good grasp on what clean eating is all about, as well as eating in correct portion sizes, because as we know as Americans, our portions have been blown up over time, and so what we really think is a single portion is probably double or triple in size. So it really is an eye-opener to know how big of portions to have for you to get results. And another side note on that is most women will tend to undereat the foods they need and overeat the ones that they should be eating less of, if that makes sense. So we'll get on that later. So anyways, I do like to recommend this to all my Beachbody clients when they start out, just for those reasons that it helps you to get a grasp on what clean eating is all about. And yeah, so it takes the confusion out of trying to count calories, to count points, to combine certain food groups together at certain times of the day. You name it, I've done all those programs, and honestly, I will tell you, not just because I am a Beachbody coach now, but this really is the simplest program where it takes the guesswork out of trying to do the math and all of those sorts of things to be eating healthy and to get results. So let's get started. So I'm going to give you 6 simple tips to help you to create a meal plan for the 21-day fix. So number 1, I want you to print out the blank weekly meal planner and the shopping list that are in the file section above. And there's different ones for different calorie brackets, so make sure that you look for the one that is appropriate for you. So number 2, refer to the master list for the 21-day fix food plan. You can find that in the file section. It's in your food plan book, and really each Beachbody program comes with its own approved food list. And most of the new ones are going to be using the container system. So no matter if you're doing like hammer and chisel, 21-day fix, 21-day fix extreme, those all are going to be having the same containers to help you to plan your meals. So really will go more than just the 21-day fix plan. So after you get your master sheet of your approved foods, go through your book. You also can look on Pinterest. Under like clean eating will give you some ideas of foods that are appropriate, healthy foods to be eating. And also if you've ever been in any of my clean eating groups, I've given you a bunch of information on that, and there's stuff on my blog, which I will also give you the link to my blog below, so don't worry about that. So once you get your list, that's step 2. Number 3, I want you to start with your blank weekly meal planner. And as you start adding foods to your planner for the week, I want you to cross off the containers at the top. So as you'll see, there's the color-coded little boxes, and those coordinate with how many of those containers you get per day. So say you get 4 containers per day, it'll have 4 little green boxes, things like that. And as you add it to your list, just check it off. So that way you know when you're meal planning, you know how many more greens you need or how many more reds you need, things like that, so you're not just a hit or miss. So really it is important to plan these out, especially if you're just starting and this is totally new and foreign to you. So as you add it, just cross it off until you get it all full, and then you're set for the day. And as you are putting in your meal on your list, write the ingredients you need in your shopping list, that way you don't have to go back and see what you need to buy. So number 4, what I would suggest to start planning your easiest meal first. And for most people, this is going to be breakfast. So, fill in your breakfast, whether you're having eggs or maybe you're going to have your Shakeology then. A lot of people will eat the same thing every day for breakfast. Ask my husband, I am that type of person. And you could switch, say maybe you do eggs one day and you like to do like overnight oats the next day. Flip flop them. It makes it so much easier for planning and for shopping as well to help you to stay on a budget. So after number 4 is to start planning the easiest meal first. Then number 5, I want you to next plan your dinners. Now this is where you're going to have a little bit of fun. So say you can take things that you know your family loves and you can get creative. Look at the seasoning recipes that come with your program in the back. You know, there's recipes in the back. If you have the Fixate cookbook, look through there. Have your family help you to pick out recipes. That's the best way that I recommend to get everyone involved and on board with this new eating. And also I'd like to say, when you do your dinners, plan to have leftovers. I know it doesn't always work out that way, but if you plan for leftovers, you can have those for lunch the following day, or even if you just have the protein portion of your dinner, you have leftovers, you can easily make that into a salad as well. And like I said, if you get everyone involved, ask people what's their favorite dinner, see if maybe what your family loves is not 21 Day Fix approved. Well, instead of just they can't have it anymore, research and figure out how you can make it fit into the plan. And I will also say, if you're just starting the program, go simple. And what I mean by that is don't try to be making casseroles and these big elaborate dishes where you have to combine a bunch of containers into one pot or pan, because you're going to be like, how do I know how many of each container I'm eating? So what I recommend, when I first started, I would, if it was a recipe of our own, I would take, like, say if I had chicken breast cut up, I would take, my red container, and say I had a yellow container of rice, and I would combine them together on my plate and then mix them up. Does that make sense? If you have any questions about casserole or something like that, please reach out. It was something that took me a while to get a grasp on. So start simple, just do your chicken breast or whatever lean meat you're doing. We do eat beef in this house, so don't think that I only eat chicken. Just look for lean cuts, and if you are, yeah. So if you have any questions, ask me on that. So number 6, I want you to plan your lunch using leftovers or a salad. And the reason I say that is that we don't have to be cooking a meal for lunch. And I know some of you work outside of the home, and you don't want to have to cook another meal in the evening for the next day for lunch. And a salad, I do salads most days just so I can get in my allotment for my green containers. It's a great way to have some, whether you want spinach or kale, things like that. Throw some tomatoes on it. Get creative. I put my diced up roasted sweet potatoes on it for a yellow container on my salad. Get creative with that. And I will caution you though, watch your salad dressings. You get 1 orange container a day, and that's for your seeds and your dressings. There are some recipes in the back of the 21 Day Fix book, as well as the other programs have some dressing ideas. The Fixate cookbook has some ideas. I did love one of the recipes, the honey mustard dressing in there. So if you're interested in that, let me know as well. I do have a bonus for you. The bonus tip is I've uploaded in the file section, and it is the tally sheet. So if you look up there, it will say the 1200 to 1499 calorie bracket. There's one for each calorie bracket. If you print those out, I put it in a clear page protector thing, and I put it on my fridge. So that way when I, have breakfast and say I have a green and a red and a yellow. So I had eggs with some vegetables and some steel cut oats, so I just mark those off. If that works for you, great. There's also the 21 Day Fix app. I know there's an official Beachbody one on for iPhone. Android, it's not an actual official one yet, but I have not used it, but people say it's great as well. Find what works for you. If you are a pen and paper person and you need to write down everything that you've eaten today, go ahead, do that, do whatever works for you. I actually started that way because I wanted to make sure that I was not lying to myself about eating too much or not eating enough. Most often we we're going to underestimate what we're really eating. So use your containers. It's been over a year and I still use my containers daily. It's going to help you to see that correct portion size, because many times we're going to eat, put a scoop of rice on our plate and it's going to be way more than the yellow container, or that usually the yellow is one that people overdo, as well as the blue for the healthy fats, so like nuts or cheese. Be sure you're using that as well. So anyways, so I do have a few top tips for you. So spread your nutrients throughout the day. And what I mean by that is, don't use up all of your containers like before lunch. Don't use up all of your carbs before lunch. Spread them out. Play with it a little bit. I know there's certain foods that help people feel better in the morning, or for me, I like to save my the nuts and a fruit before evening for a snack, like a dessert. Do whatever works for you, but make sure that you spread them out so that if you need that snack, you have that, whether it's yogurt or an apple. But remember that I do want you to not just eat a carb, whether it's a fruit or an actual yellow container carb alone. Pair it with a protein or a healthy fat. My next tip, try to have your carbs earlier in the day. And so I'm not saying eat them all, but have them, if you're going to eat dinner at 5 or 6, that's fine if you're going to have one container. Just don't save them all for dinner. The only time I would say to actually do that, maybe if you're going out to eat. But I would caution you on that, because if you haven't had your carbs earlier in the day, you're going to feel hangry, as they say. You're going to want to just eat anything you see. My next tip, avoid eating fruits or carbs alone, which I already touched on that, because we want to pair them with a protein or a healthy fat to help keep our blood sugar stable. Remember that. Next one, don't stress too much. Don't stress too much about small ingredients in things. Like, say if you're making a casserole or something like that. If you have a small amount of something, do not stress about it. It will come in time. You'll be able to figure out how to count that. So starting out, don't stress. So the next tip, to figure out the serving size of something. So if you are doing a casserole, measure it out ahead of time. So say you have a pound of lean ground beef or turkey breast. That is equivalent to 4 red containers. And then say you're going to add in some brown rice. And if you're going to use 4 containers of brown rice. And maybe you're going to use some cheese. So maybe use 2 blue containers of cheese. Or maybe you put 4 in. And then you just divide it into 4 servings. So if you put 4 blue, 4 yellow, and 4 red, you could divide it into 4 servings. And then you will have, each serving is equivalent to 1 red, 1 yellow, and 1 blue. So sometimes if you're adding like a blue, I like to do less. So if I want to have 2 servings, I'm not going to go over my allotment. Does that make sense? So like I said, it'll come with time. You'll be able to figure that out before no time. My other tip is to start a recipe binder. So if you're one that likes to actually print things off, get a binder to start saving recipes, especially things you like. Put notes on them. Get creative making your own recipes as well, or make a Pinterest board. I do have a Pinterest board of different recipes, so if you search me, you'll be able to find that as well. Make a list of your favorite things for breakfast and snacks. It makes it easier when planning. So say you like hummus and with veggies like cucumbers, carrots, peppers. That would be a great snack to have in the day. The hummus is going to be a blue container and your vegetables will be a green. So highlight foods on the list, which I already had touched on that too. Just so when you're like, oh, I don't know what to eat today. I still need this, such and such containers. Look through it. Oh, I forgot about this. Sometimes we get in a rut and we eat the same thing every day. So try something new. And I already talked about this too real quick. To eat foods from the top third of your list. Again, you're going to get the most nutritional value out of them, and they're going to help you to stay full longer. And so I hope that helps you when planning your meals to know how to divide them up. If you have any questions on any of this, if please reach out to me. For a while, I was actually doing a plan, and now I've kind of gotten away from that. But whatever works for you, just because, some days I go shop. I mostly go shopping every 2 weeks. And we do have a second fridge, which makes it handy for vegetables. But if you don't, if you shop, maybe you do once a week or twice a week, whatever you do, do what works for your family. And I will like to say one other tip, that for vegetables, fresh is always best. And then next you want to go for the frozen, because really those are just as good as fresh. And then if last resort, you can pick canned, but if you need to use a canned vegetable, be sure to rinse it because of the sodium content in them. So I hope that helps you in doing your meal plans. I really wanted to have this up before we actually started this week, but life happens. So again, if you have any questions, reach out to me. My blog is fitmama25.wordpress.com, and I have some of my older meal plans on there, as well as a bunch of recipes and clean eating ideas on there. And also on my fan page, the Fit Mama 25 Facebook page, I put different ideas on there as well. So I hope that helps you guys, and I am excited to see your results as we get going through the group. I will talk to you later. Bye.